But I am joined by Senator Mike Rounds, a Republican of South Dakota. This does seem, Senator, I know you were in this presiding role of this unenviable position last night as to whether form was broken by Senator Warren here, getting very personal on this. That was what Mitch McConnell said, because now in rapid-fire fashion, we've seen 3 Democratic senators quoting the same Coretta Scott King letter that she was attempting to quote last night. How bad is this getting, the distraction itself?
Well, we're actually just burning time in the Senate right now. There's a limit to debate, and we already know what the vote's going to look like. We know that Senator Sessions will become the next United States Attorney General. But in the meantime, individuals can get onto the floor, and if done correctly, they have the opportunity to express support or disapproval for the nomination. But we have rules about how that's done. There is still a sense of decorum that we try to maintain in the Senate. And unfortunately, last night, the individual who was in the chair at the time felt that Senator Warren had violated Rule 19, which is one that maintains decorum, and it just simply says that you can't impute to another senator an item of dishonor, basically, or activity or motive that's unbecoming a United States senator. And when that first warning was given, they have an opportunity to not do it again. Unfortunately, the second time around, the majority leader came down and said that he felt that she was in violation of Rule 19. The chair ruled that that was their opinion as well. That can then be overturned if the body says they disagree. In this particular case, the body agreed with the ruling of the chair that she was in violation of Rule 19, and the penalty for that is that you can't speak to that particular subject, the nomination of Senator Sessions, for the rest of the debate.
So when did it become personal? When she was quoting from this letter, just to bring viewers up to speed, Senator, you are well versed on this, as well as procedures in the Senate, so if you'll indulge me. It was a letter from Coretta Scott King back on March 19th, 1986, Jeff Sessions being considered for a judgeship, in which Martin Luther King's widow had said that it would be a mistake and that he should not be considered that he had a history of frightening elderly black voters, and for this reprehensible conduct he should not be rewarded with a federal judgeship. Was it the reprehensible word, the line in that letter, that was the dividing point, the trigger point where it broke decorum?
The actual part, it actually has to be laid out for the entire Senate to read.
Right.
So in the table in front of us, and it actually lays out that you write out that form in longhand and put it before the body so everybody can see the language to be discussed.
But we should stress that the letter was available and in the record for everyone to read. You just couldn't read it in that form. Is that right?
Correct, because it is imputing to another member of the Senate, a sitting member of the Senate, right, something which is derogatory to them. And once again, it's a matter, and I think on the other side they thought that, well, if I'm not saying it, if I'm saying somebody else is saying it, that I can get away with it. And the answer to that is Rule 19 is very clear. It says you cannot directly or indirectly impugn another member.
Then what happens, Senator? Here's where I'm confused on what's impugning. Because when I remember Ted Cruz ripping Mitch McConnell a new one, that he lied over and over and over again. I forget when he said that, but it was a famous incident. When I remember Tom Cotton saying that the cancerous leadership under Harry Reid, where does one draw the line on what's offensive?
The way that the Senate rules are set up, and it's a very good question. In the case last night, as a matter of fact, Senator King actually asked that question of me afterwards while that had already been completed. And what he said was, is calling someone a liar on the floor of the Senate a violation of Rule 19. My response after consultation with the parliamentarian is in the opinion of the chair, it would be. But Rule 19 says you have to act upon that at the time that it occurs. So if it would have been at the time that someone calls another member on the floor a liar, it would have been up to the person in the chair at the time if it was their opinion that it violated Rule 19 to call it.
Let's say you're justified in doing what you did, sir. And again, it's in the eye of the beholder, and the rules are the rules. I understand that. But have you given Democrats, have you given the senator from Massachusetts and others who have been critical of this administration and its appointees an opportunity to say they've been wronged?
Oh, most certainly they have that opportunity, and that's what they're doing now. The question is will it change or modify their behavior in the future with other nominees, or will they learn that, look, they will be called upon it? And this should go both ways. It's not just calling it once, and there are some of us that believe that we probably should be reminding people more often about the rules in the Senate, including
well, by the way, you
Rule
have always been very dignified in your approach to this, so take it from me. This is not a personal attack.
No.
What I am asking, though, is when
I don't
Senator,
take it that way, yeah.
Oh, but very good. I admire that, because it was not intended that way. But when I see three Democratic senators, Senator Udall and Brown and Merkley, come to the microphone and essentially quote this letter, how is it they can do that? And Senator Warren, in her venue, cannot.
And I'm not familiar with how far they went, but in the opinion of the member who was sitting in the chair at the time, in their opinion, it either did not rise to the level of impugning a senator, or it did not arise to that level based upon anyone else who was in the chamber at the time. So it's not like you can't disagree or challenge what they were doing in actions, but if you personally suggest an attribution to a sitting United States senator, then you could be found in violation of Rule 19.
Okay. All right. I wouldn't survive 10 minutes in the Senate. You know that, Senator? I just concluded that I talk first, think later, so I'd probably just not make it. All right, Senator Rounds, thank you very much. Very good seeing you.